Hello and welcome back to Inside Out with Kris. So today I want to talk into something that is so powerful and potent to know and harness in your relationships, primarily in your partnerships, but also in friendship. And that is something that I am going to talk about, which is covert contracts. So if you have heard of this before, you will understand the, I suppose, the concept behind it. But if you haven't heard of this, then let's dive into what that actually means. So a covert contract is basically an unconscious expectation that you're holding in your relationship. So what that could specifically look like is, let's say your husband washes the car and then he unconsciously has an expectation on the relationship that you'll have sex with him that night, but you go to bed and don't have sex with him, and then he wakes up the next day and he's fucking furious with you because you didn't do what he unconsciously expected you to do. This is what a covert contract is. And this plays out in so many different areas, right? This doesn't just happen in relationship. It can happen in our friendship. It can happen in our boundaries with people in our workplace and things like that as well. And what it actually comes down to is our choice to not communicate what we want. So let's come back to the husband here. If he had gone to his wife and said, hey, I really want to make time for intimacy for us today, he didn't even need to clean the fucking car. I'm sure that she would have showed up for him, because that's what we do. We show up in our partnerships in both ways, right? So noticing that the part here that was missing was that clear, defined, like communication. Communication was freaking everything in this. So where are you not harnessing your power in communication in your relationship? And how is that messing with you in terms of creating stories, right? So let's go back to the husband. Husband created a story, and that's why he was angry. He probably created the story that wife didn't love him, wife was not attracted to him, wife was feeling that he was not the man that she wants to be with. Anything could have came out in that, right? But when we look into what actually happened, wife didn't know. Wife didn't have information. Wife made a decision and went to bed. It was actually nothing to do with the husband. And the part around communication and language and delivering these things is so healthy and so important in our relationships, in both friendship as well as our de facto relationship. What can happen in friendships a lot of the time, which I feel like a lot of you will resonate with, is feeling like you're not a priority in a friendship, let's say, or being let down by someone. So let's say that you are the person that always makes an effort for this person. You drop everything and anything to see them. You're that friend that just shows up. You're always there. And then you might try and organize something with that person to maybe go to the movies or go out for dinner. And you feel like every time you organize something with them to do something social, they let you down every time. They either can't make it, or they're sick, or this or that. And in here for you're unconsciously taking in that you're not a priority, right? You feel like you're not good enough for that person. What would happen here if you just clearly communicated how you're feeling to them? What would happen if you chose to be vulnerable in this and went to that person and was like, hey, this is how I'm feeling. I really want to make an effort to have this friendship because I value you as a human in my life. What would happen if you created that bond in that relationship, as opposed to going, maybe you could be like me in the past, who would just, okay, I'm not good enough, so I'm going to cut ties with that person. See you later. And I just cut them off like there was never a friendship there in the first place. Or perhaps you just sit in your sadness and you then continue to sit in like that people pleasing modality, where it's just like you continue to show up for them and they keep letting you down, and then you're not meeting your needs or your desires, and you feel like you're not actually gaining anything from this friendship. So you walk away constantly feeling drained and constantly feeling emotionally battered because you are not communicating how you feel. So if that feels like the friendship and the energetic capacity that you're going in at the moment, maybe it's time to have a look at, where am I holding this covert contract? Where are my unconscious expectations being played out? And how can I make these unconscious expectations actually conscious standards, and practice having clear communication with the people in my world to ensure that I am meeting my self-standard, right? Because people don't know unless you tell them. It's the oldest kind of saying in the book. How can you expect someone to know how you think and feel if you're not communicating that to them? So a couple of things that I want to just sit with around covert contracts, and for you to go inward with, maybe in a journal format. Perhaps you can just reflect on this. So when you think of your relationships, number one, where are you not taking responsibility for the covert contracts that you are bringing into your relationships? Number two, how are your needs not being met because of your own lack of clear communication? Number 3, how can you create conscious clarity by taking responsibility of your covert contracts? Number 4, can you notice the covert contracts you are currently experiencing from others? And number 5, how can you take responsibility to set a healthy boundary when you experience a covert contract from someone else? So I hope that these journal prompts allow you to go a little deeper beneath the surface on where in your life covert contracts are playing out. And if you did enjoy this episode and this did land for you, please let me know. Hit subscribe, hit follow on all the accounts you'll see on the screen, and I will see you next week.